So Xzae, formerly known as Kai Weiss, decided to respond to Lin's recent video on them over stream, and oh boy, do I have some issues with it. The first thing I want to point out is the large amount of irrelevant points that Xzae uses over the course of this stream. For example, at one point they get on to Lin because Lin, gasp, wants to make money off her content, I guess?
But before we do that, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'm a small commentator trying to support myself by making the content I do, so if you want to support me...
Get a job? Are y'all incapable of, like, getting an application and actually working?
I should note, Xzae has no reason to believe Lin doesn't have one and is just attempting to use her videos as supplementary income, which is something a lot of people do if I'm not mistaken.
Why do y'all insist on making it? This is why they do this. This is why they make these shit-ass videos. Because they need money. It's not because they actually give a fuck about the subject matter. It's because they need money. I can't do anything in my personal life, and I can't make any money in my personal life unless I make a video on Kai Weiss. I can't do anything in my personal life unless I make a video on Omnia, because that's the only way I can make money.
Now, this notion that Lin is only making videos on Xzae to make money doesn't actually make any sense. Out of Lin's 4 most recent videos at time of recording, the one on You has the least amount of views. And her most popular video on You is currently in 7th place among her most viewed. What I'm getting at is, if this really is just some massive plot on Lin's part for views, there seems to be much smarter ways of going about it than making videos on You over and over again. Especially given, as you yourself mentioned later, covering somebody over and over again is actually very likely to lead in less viewers than if you covered new people.
Lin just needed a fucking video and they thought, oh, if I talk about Kai Weiss again, people are gonna watch it. No! There's a point in time that people get fucking tired of people saying Kai Weiss bad. Oh my gosh, Xzae bad.
And what do you know? Looking at the 5 videos in Lin's playlist on You, the only 2 that actually got more than 5,000 views are the first one and the 4th one, which I should note were both very long looks at various situations you had found yourself in, as opposed to the more generic commentating on a single video that Lin does in the video you're covering. None of this is even getting into the utterly false dichotomy you drew between making money and caring about the topic at hand. A notion you continue to perpetuate later in the stream, where you list all these reasons why you're here which have nothing to do with money, in contrast with Lin, who, it's implied, only cares about the money.
You know what happened when I uploaded this video on Bored Oranges? It got demonetized. The video did not, it had limited ads. And I did not give a fuck, because I'm here to make a point. I'm not here to make money. I will never go out of my way on my YouTube channel to sit here and edit content about me and edit out no words that YouTube doesn't like. Half of these live streams don't make any money. Why? Because I'm not here for the fucking money. I'm here to make a point. I'm here to have fun. I'm here to enjoy myself on my YouTube channel.
However, this idea breaks down when met with reality. The average employee for the Humane Society earns slightly more than $35,000 a year. However, that does not mean the average worker for the Humane Society doesn't care about the cause of the organization. Xzae repeats this accusation a couple of times. Here's them saying Lin only talks about trending topics.
Oh, this is why you talk about trending topics? Like, hold on. Give me a second. This is why you only talk about trending topics that it's really, really hard for people to disagree with you on. That's super, super hard to fuck up with. This is why you talked about Spoctor right when everybody was mad about Spoctor. This is why you talked about Daft Pina when everyone was mad at Daft Pina.
This is why she talked about Vincent Skullman, a person with a grand total of 714 subscribers, whose situation really couldn't have been a trending topic given Lin was the one who made it public in the first place.
This is why you do this shit. because you don't have anything really substantial to add in regards to your content. You just regurgitate whatever anybody else is saying in the community, and they do that better than you. So when it comes to content about me, you don't like. You're lucky that I don't respond and I just let you say the shit that you say, because if I did respond, I'd embarrass the fuck out of you, just like I'm doing now, because you're not good at arguing anything. You're terrible at it. Your videos are so shit.
I like this part because while he's discussing Lin doing nothing but making videos on trending topics, the video being previewed is one on small YouTuber Septipaws, who, to put this simply, was not really a trending topic outside of a handful of fairly niche circles. Of course, even if Lin is just doing these videos for views and money, that wouldn't actually disprove a single thing she says, making this nothing more than a generic ad hominem attack. Although ad hominem is one of those phrases Xzae doesn't seem to quite understand, given when Lin accuses them of exactly this, they say the following.
This is what I'm saying. First, it's the two-quote fallacy, and now since we can't use the two-quote fallacy like Harley and them did before, now we have to use the ad hominem fallacy. That's so fucking hilarious. Yeah, I'll give it to him. I completely insulted Bored Oranges. I still think the dude is a dumb British nigga, but just because I did an ad hominem doesn't mean that I wasn't still making a coherent point. I'm going to insult you while also embarrassing your line of thought. I did both of those things in that video.
Now, I'll ignore Xzae saying that despite using fallacies, their argument was still coherent because, I guess, but coherency and correctness aren't the same thing. And instead take a minute to address their implication that ad hominem attacks are just insults when they're not. They're using characteristics irrelevant to the argument being discussed in order to discredit the person at hand. It means to the person, as translated from New Latin, and has historically referred to bringing characteristics of the person you're arguing with into a conversation as opposed to sticking to the principles at hand. Oh, and that part about how the nebulous they keep using these same responses against Xzae? Yeah, that's something that's expanded upon later. Here's the clip.
After you come in here and make your thread with arguments that ring as though they were made in very bad faith, it's made apparent that
This is what I'm talking about. Now, all these people say these people are like NPCs. They pull from a pool of select responses. It's either this is an ad hominem, you're making this argument in bad faith, oh, you're trying to get a gotcha moment. Every time you prove these fuck niggas wrong, they pull one thing out of that specific pool of responses. They option select. All they do is OS every time you make a good point.
Never mind that these criticisms are specifically them saying they don't believe your point to be valid on the basis of you engaging in these tactics. Fuck, the first example you give, ad hominems, are a logical fallacy, or a flaw in somebody's reasoning. Bringing it up inherently means that you believe somebody came to the position they did through flawed means, and therefore you are saying what they believe is in some way incorrect. And as for the claim of people making the same points against you over and over again, I'm sorry, I forgot that arguments were like Pokemon moves in that I'm only allowed to use them a certain number of times. Do I need to go to the Poke Center before I can accuse you of another fallacy? In general, Xzae seems to have this rather odd view of correctness. It's a little hard to explain, but I think the best example of it is this part, where Lin says that Xzae's evidence doesn't actually prove the claim they're making.
the most legal evidence for you not banning oranges from chat proves is that he isn't blocked now, not that he wasn't blocked at the time.
This is what I'm talking. See? Do y'all see what I mean? Oh my god, this is what I'm talking about. No matter what I do, I'm still wrong. No matter if I show people that, hey, Bored Oranges isn't blocked on my YouTube channel. If I had not shown that, if I had not shown those screenshots, Lin would be in this video talking about, oh, well, where's your evidence that Bored Oranges wasn't blocked. And then when I give you evidence and the evidence is right in front of your face, you do everything in your power to try and be like, oh, well, that's not actual evidence. Then what do you want me to do?
How about just don't make claims you're unable to prove? And as for you claiming that if you didn't show this screenshot, Lynn might be asking for exactly that. Okay? How does that prove Lynn's original claim wrong? It would prove Lynn is irrational, don't get me wrong, but irrational people can still say correct things every now and again. Stopped clocks and all that. Of course, all of this is based off of nothing more than an assumption on your part, given, you can't exactly go to the alternate universe where you didn't show this piece of evidence to hear how Lynn to that different hypothetical video. So we have a statement that is essentially meaningless given that it both does not prove Lynn wrong and cannot be proven one way or the other.
It's not on me. It's not on me, Lin, to prove that Bored Oranges has been banned in my channel. It is Bored Oranges' responsibility to prove that Bored Oranges has been banned on my channel.
Yeah, and Lynn admits that later on in this video in a clip that was shown in your fucking stream.
And yes, the burden of proof would rest upon Orange's shoulders to prove that he was blocked in the first.
For those curious, Xzae responds by saying,
then why did you make this point at all? If the burden of proof is on Oranges, don't sit here and be like, oh, well, we only know he's been blocked for now.
To say that the evidence you showed didn't prove what you said it did. That was Lynn's entire point. Nowhere did she even say your conclusion was wrong or that Oranges was right, just that one part of your argument was flawed. And by the way, Xzae also seems to be under the impression that Lynn is saying that Oranges is absolutely flawless in argumentation, and not just that Xzae is wrong, or making bad points. Shortly after the clip I just showed you, this happens.
Little bit of a stretch.
Bored Oranges titles this video, Anya hasn't changed.
And notice how it's a stretch for me, but it's not a stretch for Bored Oranges. That's so fucking crazy to me. I'm the problem, but it's not Bored Oranges who's the problem.
When did Lynn say that Oranges' point wasn't a stretch? The video was criticizing you, not Oranges. That's why Lynn focused on you! Anyway, let's get into some more miscellaneous shit now that I've talked about all the really big issues.
Lin has, I think, now 6 videos on me on their channel.
5 actually, not 6.
And I haven't responded to a single one of them. One of them is titled, Leave Me Alone, Kai Weiss. So, I don't get it.
It's actually kind of funny that was the video you decided to name drop of Lynn's, given it proves your claim about never having responded to Lynn to be completely wrong. That video was about you responding to her second video on you via live stream.
If you recall, I had made a video on Kai Weiss recently to cover more recent behaviour that happened after my first video on them that I felt warranted being criticised, and if you recall better, you would remember that I said this at the end. And at this stage, to take a short break from the memes now, I am simply done with Kai for the time being. I'm getting to the point where I am simply so sick to death of him that I'm not going to make another video on him again unless he ends up making a direct comment towards me or something, which I doubt will happen. And what did they do? Well, exactly that, of course, because they started a stream, and guess who they decide to bitch about first?
Fuck, you responding to Lynn's video over stream was even mentioned in the video of Lynn's you're covering, which you acknowledge and defend.
Made as the stream was happening. Furthermore, you had previously claimed that you responded to my video on one of your previous live streams because my video wasn't worth a formal response.
Yeah, and here I am doing it again because your video isn't worth a formal response. It's not.
However, a response, formal or not, is still a response, so yes, you have responded to Lynn's videos before, and that's not even getting into comments you've left on her videos, for example, or times where you've taken shots at her arguments. Also, I want to point out regarding the screenshot that Xzae made a really big deal about Lynn having it earlier in the video.
Which, mind you, is pretty rich given how you were someone who was trying to say that I don't fact check enough in the past, but it...
I just proved that you don't fact check. You literally don't. You just pull arguments out of your ass and think that you're making a good point at the end of the day. And it's so like, why do you even still have the screenshot? Oh my god, you can tell that Linlin has such a grudge against me. Oh my god, go fucking touch grass or something.
Which is not only just another attempt to discredit Lin through nothing more than the most basic form of mockery humanly possible, but also just doesn't even make any sense. What the fuck is so abnormal to you about having a screenshot?
Like, this is what I'm saying. The only time I've directly interacted with Linlin has been on Twitter. I have never made a video on Linlin. I have never talked specifically about Linlin in regards to anything. Literally anything.
I find it kind of funny that you dismiss any previous interactions you've had with Lin by claiming that they are only on Twitter. Given later in this same video, you talk about Orange's comment about you and Omnia being back, and attempt to debunk it by pointing out that the both of you had been on Twitter this entire time.
I'd say that the two of you were back because neither of you ever left. Mate, one glance at Omnia's uploads will show that to be wrong.
What are you talking? Just because Omnia didn't upload to her YouTube channel does not mean that Omnia wasn't on Twitter tweeting. This is not an argument. What the fuck are you? Oh my god! Why does anyone take Linlin seriously? Genuinely, why does anyone take this person seriously at all? Do you think that Omnia's existence is only on their YouTube channel, bro? They were on Twitter tweeting plenty of times. Linlin is so fucking stupid, bro.
There are no listed videos on their channel between the 4th of July 2022 and the 16th of April 2023, almost 9 months. And yes, this is partially whittled down after Omnia unlisted their videos from their drama versus trauma situation, but even with them in mind, the point still stands for them.
Bro, does Twitter not exist to you? Did Twitter just completely disappear from your mind? Are you serious? Do we have to upload in order for us to be back? I don't get it. We have always been online. If we completely went off of the grid, if this would be a coherent point, Linlin, if both me and Omnia stopped uploading, stopped tweeting, just completely left the internet as a whole. But that's not what happened. We have been online this entire time. Just because you're not paying attention to us doesn't mean that we returned or some fucking what?
I should also note regarding this whole thing, given it began with Oranges saying that you and Omnia are back, Oranges didn't mean you two literally materialized into existence again. He was more than likely referring to you coming back to YouTube commentary specifically. We can argue how true that is, I'll admit, but that doesn't change the fact you totally missed his point. And with that, Lin's defense, given her point, was entirely based around that being what Oranges meant.
Y'all niggas cannot let me do shit in this fucking community. I can't criticize a single fucking person without some idiot going on their YouTube channel trying to use it for some clicks.
Person surprised that criticizing members of a community that exists to criticize other YouTubers results in them being criticized by that same community.
Niggas are still mad at me just simply for fucking existing, I guess? I don't fucking know.
If only Lin had uploaded, like, a video on you recently that explained why she didn't agree with your recent actions. Unfortunately, she did not partake in this insane idea. I don't even know how to respond to this, honestly. The reason why Lin is upset with you is because you made a video on Oranges which had faulty arguments. This does not seem particularly difficult to figure out, especially given you're responding to that same video in this live stream.
This is what I'm saying, like, people are mad at me because I'm defending myself in a situation that pertains to my personal life. Why are you mad at me for doing that?
Oh, so it's not just because you exist, it's because you did this one really specific thing. I see. Also, I cannot stress this enough, and this is something Xzae does throughout the entire fucking stream, by the way. The issue at hand is not that you're existing or that you're defending yourself. The issue is that you made arguments which were flawed. That's it.
Much of it as I could. Either way, one thing about them that has, and at this point probably always will, remain consistent is their inability to accept criticism that causes them to make some pretty weak arguments when they're against the wall, so to speak.
See, the only person who thinks I'm making weak arguments is Lin.
And presumably the almost 200 people who watched the video and gave it a thumbs up, therefore implying they agreed with it, seems like they also thought your arguments were pretty weak.
And because I know that when you irritate these losers, the first thing they do is go make a video or tweet hoping that their fan base mass dislikes your content so they can protect their ego and reputation. I recommend that if you're watching this video, you give it a like and subscribe. These hate when their influence doesn't have an effect on negative content about them. Let's get started.
Baseless assertion about the intent of your critics that literally serves no purpose but demeaning their character without making an actual argument. Like, we get it. It's nice to have a call to action to feed the algorithm and all, but you don't need to poison the well in order to do that.
What?
See, this is what the fuck I'm talking. What do you mean, bro? This is exactly what you did. I love that you put this at the forefront of the video because Lin, this is exactly what you did.
And that justifies you saying this in a video about somebody completely different before said evidence was provided to you, by the way. How exactly? And that, of course, is assuming your assertion about Lin is correct.
Just because you have an opinion that my video is bad, and you're free to have that opinion, it's wrong, but I mean, you know, you can stoop it in peace.
Opinions can't be right or wrong, but okay.
It is what it is. Also, some idiot in the community was probably speaking about it and you reacted.
That's a nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
Okay, Hopeless Peaches. Boom. Hopeless Peaches is probably the person who was talking about it.
Okay, so Xzae spends the next couple of minutes first saying they aren't going to look for the tweet from Peaches before attempting to go look for it anyway, and eventually finding it, not realizing that even if showing the evidence now is certainly better than nothing, make no mistake, it is still too little too late given they should have shown this in their original Oranges video, which was Lin's entire point.
Actually wanted your response to have substance instead of having little more than ad hominem attacks to back up arguments that—
Bro, the video is an hour long. What do you mean the response had no substance? It's an hour long video. Okay.
That in no way debunks what Lin said. Long videos can still be substanceless. I have no idea what you're going for here, I have to be honest.
all beneath their own weight as soon as you examine them for a second. Especially when you take a look at the fact that Orange's tweet where he says he doesn't care was made 17 days before his video was uploaded.
It doesn't matter that the video was made 7 days. Well, that doesn't matter at all. It has nothing to do with the point that I made originally. If you don't care about it, then don't talk about it. Honestly, that makes it even more embarrassing.
Yeah, Xzae goes on for a while regarding the long process of making a Definitely Bored Oranges video, just so you all know, complete with insulting Lin quite a bit. So, when we cut back to Lin's video, we hear...
Want to call Oranges, or anyone else for that matter, incompetent? Just make sure that you don't notice your entire case, which is an incredibly petty case at that, needs to rely on the unstated assumption that Oranges didn't change his opinion over that course of time. And without you knowing him personally, that's a pretty dumb assumption to make so confident.
Or, in other words, that your argument in your original video on Oranges rested on the assumption that Oranges didn't start caring at some point between the tweet he released saying he didn't care and the video coming out. You were assuming dishonesty when a shift in perspective made much more sense. And how does Xzae respond to this new information?
That he's a incompetent British nigga? I think I proved that in the video. I'm sorry you're so fucking upset that I called your friend a stupid British nigga. You're also a stupid British nigga.
No, the assumption that Oranges didn't change his mind. Also, clearly some people don't think you proved your thesis about Oranges, that he's a moron. Given people disagreed with your video, one of those people is Lin. You know, the person you're covering?
Like, you're both dumb British people. I'll make the statement more inclusive since you have such an issue with it. You're both dumb British idiots. So, there you go. Sorry.
As opposed to a smart British idiot, I guess.
Why don't you just watch my video? It's crazy how you're clipping my video, but for some reason are leaving out all the Bored Oranges clips that I'm responding to. This is just blatantly dishonest.
Yeah, that's just blatantly untrue. The thing you're responding to now in your original Oranges video is a tweet from Oranges, which Lynn did play you reading out.
I want to start this video off with Orange's initial tweet on both me and Omnia, which is wild because I can't believe this loser is so incompetent that I'm going to have to defend my ex. Here's what they said. Kai and Omnia are back again, but I couldn't give less of it personally. This happens every year like an annual event. We aren't in 2020 anymore, bro. Do something else, please.
Lynn even read it again, which you complained about.
Kai and Omnia are back again. Sorry to say, but I couldn't give less of it personally. This happens every year like an annual event. We aren't in 2020 anymore.
Bro, we read the tweet. You don't have to read it again, bro. It was in the clip.
Bro, do something else, please.
I will never let y'all niggas have power over me to the point where you silence me. What you're trying to do is silence me. Y'all don't want me to have a platform, because the moment that I do have a platform, y'all can't touch me anymore. And a lot of y'all are my enemies.
And how exactly is Lynn trying to silence you? Through playing clips of your video and responding to them? Therefore making it so more people hear what you're saying than they would if she didn't make this video, given there is a subsection of Lynn's audience that would not have known about your Oranges video unless she covered it?
Back. You either don't have the ability to understand context to a given sentence, or you're scraping at the bottom of the barrel for a way to strawman what Oranges said again.
Notice how Lin can't directly say that the point that I'm making is bad. They just have to undermine the point so severely to convince their audience that I'm not really saying anything of substance.
And therefore convince her audience that your point is bad. Yeah, this is another one that falls into the category of I have no idea what Xzae is going for here.
They have to continuously claim in the video to the point that it sounds like they're trying to convince themselves of this. But they have to throw it so far down everyone's throats. Oh, he's just scraping at the bottom of the barrel. This is just a bottom of the barrel point. It's not a bottom of the barrel point. You just want to undermine what I'm saying so severely so you don't have to accept the fact that what I said is correct.
You just have to claim there are flaws in my point so you don't have to accept the fact that it's correct? Huh?
Live stream, which you can find on my channel, about the video I'm going to talk about today, and Oranges was one of the first people to find it, funnily enough. He tweeted out, LOL, what? Bro, they don't even be defending themselves anymore. They just tweet out, LOL, what? And keep it moving. Ain't to be confused about dumb. I don't like you and I don't like this video. Why are you surprised I streamed on it? What makes this worse is that you just pretended that you were banned from my comment section and that I stopped you from speaking, which never happened, and I can prove it. Here's a list of all the people I have banned from my channel comments and live streams. You are not there. Here you are in my channel mentioned stab, which shows I didn't do anything to block you. And after, I don't know, you on an alt or your fans made the claim that you were hidden from the comments, I literally offered for you and Harley to join me in a call and you ducked me. Don't pay attention, dumb. Are you kidding me? What the f? Is he in my stream? Dwarf Oranges, I would love to get you in a Discord call if you're in my stream. You can at me on Twitter. We can get on Discord. My username on Discord, I can DM it to you. Give me a follow on Twitter. We don't even need to follow each other, bro. We don't even need to follow each other for long. After we're done talking, I will soft block you, and that's it. We don't need to talk after that. But if you are in my stream, Board Oranges, I would love to have a conversation about this video and your upcoming video. I would love to have a conversation about it. So I don't want to hear no about he hid me from comments. I didn't hide you at all. Either you were on an alt and that was banned because why the f are you talking to me on an alt, or you just didn't speak and acted like you did. So thank you for proving to your audience that you're dishonest.
First of all, Oranges just tweeting lol what as the situation went down isn't a problem, and it's not a replacement for defending himself.
Yes, it is, because why didn't you just simply defend yourself if I was making such bad points? Why couldn't you just defend yourself on Twitter? If my points were so fucking bad, then why didn't you defend yourself from those same points? If they were so terrible.
Just off the top of my head, maybe Oranges just didn't want to, maybe they didn't feel like it was worthwhile, maybe they stopped caring about this situation. There could be a variety of reasons.
Holy shit.
And I'm sorry, but you don't know Anya, and you definitely don't know me. I don't even like Anya, bro. I could even say that I hate them, but at the very least, I'm willing to consider the fact that, unlike them, I can understand when my experience with them and their behaviors is exclusive. Granted, they've proven otherwise online, but I'm so sure at some point in the future, Anya will be far removed from the art commentary community and finally give this a rest. You know, eventually. We're not there yet, but maybe someday.
Looks like we can add this to the pile of pointless non sequiturs, as saying you don't know Omnia doesn't mean that Oranges isn't able to look at their public behavior and come to a conclusion that they haven't changed at all.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that that's a conclusion founded in reality, Lin.
Yeah, Xzae goes on for a while. The part I want to address, though, is at the very end of this interjection.
This is the very thing that Omnia got on Hopeless Peach's ass for. You cannot claim that you know anyone on the internet personally enough that you're able to determine whether or not they change. You have no right to do that. Absolutely no right to do that. Whether it be somebody you like or whether it be somebody you dislike, you are not living their life. If you only know them from the internet, you cannot say anything about their character. You can't. Literally.
Really? So somebody who's been, say, harassed over the internet can't determine their harasser is a bad person unless they meet said harasser in real life? And that's one of the tamer examples I could come up with. And none of this is even getting into the fact that throughout this live stream, you've made various claims about Lynn's character, including that she's only doing videos on you for views and money, and that she's not particularly intelligent. Those are claims about who she is as a person you had no issue making, despite, I assume at least, never meeting her in real life. Anyway, final thought, this whole live stream was terrible. Xzae didn't even really defend themselves so much as they decided to constantly attack Lynn. And even if you dislike Lynn, that doesn't actually disprove anything on its own. The actual points Xzae made were incredibly weak and easily debunked, so honestly, this was just an incredibly frustrating watch all around. Good night and good luck.